Good morning, boys and girls. So, we have been talking about readers having different voices. So, we have talked about our reading voice, which is what the text says. We've also been talking about our thinking voice, and that's what the text means. So, today we're going to talk about readers actually have three different voices. I'm going to go ahead and write that 3 up there. Readers have three different voices. And the voice I want to talk about today is kind of the distracting voice. That's the voice that maybe if we're reading something and our friend is whispering by us, we try to hear what our friend is saying. Or if we're not actually thinking about what the text says, this really interrupts our thinking voice. So I'm going to hang this up right next to our thinking voice. So our distracting voice is I'm thinking, but not about the text. Maybe I'm thinking about what I'm going to do later tonight, or maybe I'm thinking about what my friend is doing. So we want to make sure that we don't use that distracting voice, okay? So I want you to notice here, we have 3 colors. So our reading voice is what the text says. That means you're reading along nicely. When we stop a little bit and use our thinking voice, that means we're kind of pausing, kind of like a yellow light. That means we're thinking. And when we know we're not thinking about the text, that's red. That means I need to stop and I need to go back and use my reading and my thinking voice. So today what I'm going to do is we're going to practice that. And I have the same book from yesterday, and this book is called Different and Same. So I'm going to practice what to do when I have that distracting voice. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm a fast swimmer. Turtle. I'm strong for my size. Rhinoceros beetle. I have big claws. Lobster. I burrow in sand. Clam. But look closer now. We all have shells. One time when I went to the beach, we collected a lot of shells and we took them back, and then we took them home and they had a lot of sand. Uh-oh, what is Mrs. Holman doing? Am I using that distracting voice? I'm not thinking about the text. I'm thinking about what I did at the beach, but that's not about the text. So now I know I have to go back and use my thinking voice about the text. So, and yesterday we talked about that all of these animals have shells, even though they look different, they can be similar. So, all right, well, let's get started. Let's hope Mrs. Holman does not use that distracting voice again. I tunnel underground, ant. I hop through the meadow, grasshopper. I walk underwater, lobster. I flutter in the air, butterfly. But look closer now, we all have antenna. So as I'm looking at the text and I'm using my thinking voice, even though they all live in different, this animal lives in the air, and this animal lives in water, and this animal lives in dirt, they all have antenna. All right. So I was using my thinking voice about the text. I'm blue, blue jay. I'm yellow, butterfly. I'm black, bat. I'm pink, flamingo. But look closer now. We all have wings. Oh, you know what? That reminds me of a story that one time when I was at camp with my aunt and uncle, their bat got into the camp, and Mrs. Holman was screaming and yelling and had to cover her head. Uh-oh. I'm using that distracting voice again. Uh-oh. I better go back to the text. Start thinking about the text again. So as you can see, all of these animals have wings to fly, even though a lot of these animals look different, and the bat mostly comes out at night, but they all have wings. I squeak, bat. I meow, cat. I growl, bear. I hiss, snake. But look closer now. We all have fangs. Yes, that is very true. I perch, chameleon. I slither, snake. I plod, tortoise. I swim, salmon. But look closer now. We all have scales. And we talked about scales. What do scales do for a fish using that thinking voice? What do they do for a snake or a tortoise? Use that thinking voice. All right. So, boys and girls, you can see on the couple pages that we did, I'm going to turn it back to our chart here, that Mrs. Holman used her reading voice. I read what the text says. We thought, or we used our thinking voice about what the text meant. And then sometimes when I had that distracting voice, it meant I wasn't thinking about the text, but I went back and I made sure that I started again to use my thinking voice and my reading voice. So, boys and girls, I know we all have 3 different voices, but we do not want to use our distracting voice because it does not help us use our reading voice or our thinking voice. All right, so what I want you to do is get a book now, and I want you again to practice using your reading voice and your thinking voice. And then if that distracting voice perks up, I want you to go back and read again. Maybe set a timer and use your reading and your thinking voice for 15 minutes. All right, have a good day.